So, yo, hello, how are you? How is your world? How is everything in your world? We'll bring you to our world, you know what I'm saying? And we're about to talk wrestling like nobody else in the world ever does. And there's a reason for that, because they are not us. And this is the first Black Champ podcast. And I'm Camp from the Port.
And I am J.R. Bang. Make sure you rate, like, subscribe, download to the Barbershop Digital home of First Black Champ. Go ahead and get that merch. We are on the road to Wrestlemania. FBCWM gets you 15% off. If you are going to Florida, go ahead and get that merch before you head out to Wrestlemania, and then go ahead and rock it at Raymond James Stadium. If you're going to any of the parties, or rock it there. Go ahead and support the podcast, support the show, support J.R. Bang, support Camp from the Port. Jam-packed show today. As promised last week, after a small conversation around the Big Show, and it seems like some of the fans love Big Show slander, we are going to talk about the oral history, the RNC of the Big Show. But as we always do, we kick off the show with recapping things that happened out throughout this week, and some of the things that, you know, has broke. I was going to start off with the Raw recap, but fuck it. I know people are going to want to hear us talk about it. I know people are going to want to hear us mention this and give our thoughts on it. And some thoughts might surprise more than others. But it was announced that Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil will be hosting Wrestlemania 37 at Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, man.
We all know how the black wrestling fan feels about Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
We know how the white fans feel about Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on the Immortal Hulk Hogan hosting the Showcase of Immortals?
Right. So when I seen the image of Titus O'Neil and the Hulkster together, I said, man, Hulk Hogan has realized that he needs to do way more black PR than he thought he would need to.
Yeah.
Man, this is contrived. I'm sorry, but it is. Hulk Hogan is trying to make it clear, hey, no, for real, y'all. The black people still fuck with me. like the black wrestlers still fuck with me though, like for real. And what better way than the God-fearing Q that is or was dating Yolanda Adams without other people's relationships and none of my business. That's also the PR darling and ambassador for the WWE, a company he helped build and take to this level. Who better than that black man named Titus O'Neil to stand side by side with Hulk Hogan to prove that, hey, you know, wrestling is for everyone. You know what I'm saying? There is no divide. There's no racial divide here. You know what I'm saying? I have made amends. I have apologized to my black wrestling brothers, brother. So now everything is all good. Okay, so with all that being said, for me, I hope this doesn't look so as ebony and ivory as I think it's going to look.
Right? Ebony and ivory. That's definitely what I thought when I first saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm 39. I don't need this. The 80s, I've already made up my mind who Hulk Hogan was.
Yeah.
96 to 99, I already made up my mind who Hulk Hogan was. You know me for almost 20 years now. I've been said that, hey, all these white boomers are at least prejudiced to some degree.
Yes.
And he's one of them. So, I mean, this ain't for me. I do honestly separate Terry Bollea from Hulk Hogan because I've been watching him for too long.
Yeah.
This moment don't need to happen. This won't work on me at all. Matter of fact, it might cause a heel turn for me if this shit look like some bullshit.
You see a video package with them together? Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
If they do the Hulk Hogan, they can't do the...
Yeah, hey, if Titus O'Neil come out there and rip his shirt off and pose, I am tagging in my slander.
Okay.
I am tagging in my slander.
I think the black wrestler fans are gonna hate me today. Shit. Y'all gonna hate me today.
Oh man, let's go.
I don't know why Titus O'Neil is hosting WrestleMania.
That's number 2.
Don't get me wrong, I fuck with Titus O'Neil. But not hosting WrestleMania. I really believe that they only put him there because Hulk Hogan is so toxic to the black wrestling community. And being that, on WrestleMania, they're going to have at least one match where 2 black people going against each other. We got to put a black person as the host. Why not Titus? Because he's the nicest black guy in the WWE.
Yeah, man.
With that being said, I could separate Terry Bollea from Hulk Hogan. So I understand. And then this is Florida. He's there. He's down the street. So I get why Hulk Hogan is hosting WrestleMania more just because of travel than Titus O'Neil, who's from that area too.
True.
But at the end of the day, it's still Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
One of the most recognizable sports figures in the world today.
Yes.
So, I'm saying that I would rather see Hulk Hogan than Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil hosting WrestleMania. Even just for my slander alone. It's going to be an extra tweet or two with Hulk Hogan hosting WrestleMania from me. With that being said, and I saw this on social media, and I'm not the only one.
Okay.
If you're going to do the WrestleMania hosting, yes, to me, and I know some people was like, well, this person, footprint, yada, 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 yada. You had Alexa Bliss hosting WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
Right.
To me, if you're going to do this hosting, there's literally only one person I want to see host WrestleMania.
And that is?
Billy Kay.
Yeah.
That
super entertaining.
That only person I want to see host WrestleMania is Billy fucking Kay. I'm saying it here. I'm saying it here. I'm saying it now. I don't want to see Hulk Hogan. I don't want to see Titus O'Neil. I don't want to see Titus O'Neil talk about his philanthropic efforts and all this shit. And I don't want to see Hulk Hogan pose. Look, when Titus O'Neil took the mic last year, when Rob Gronkowski took the 24/7 belt, and he was just, I was good.
Yeah.
That's the only part he need to do. But whatever. I think he's only hosting to counteract the Hulk Hogan shit. Literally, that's it.
Absolutely.
So he's the affirmative action host for WrestleMania, and I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I put my support fully behind Billy Kay. Or wrestling fans are gonna hate me for this. They're gonna hate me. Hulk Hogan and Billy Kay.
Yeah, hey,
I'm cool. Now, I will say this though, and I think a lot of us need to understand this. And I saw this and I didn't realize it. I was like, fuck. It's right. Our childhood dead.
Yeah.
Our childhood's dead. It is. Let's be real. Let's be real. Kids like Hogan because we like Hogan. What I mean by we is our dads, our uncles, and our moms, because we know Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
But our childhood is dead, it's ruined. Our childhood with Hulk Hogan was ruined even before the nigger shit came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was dead before that.
Yeah.
It was dead when he did the reality show.
Oh, the Hogan's Knows Best?
Yes, it was dead then. Because our childhood was exposed to fuck shit before the nigger shit.
Man, listen.
Our childhood was exposed when he was on sex. He was on tape having sex with somebody.
Yo, hey, no, not just somebody.
Right.
His guy's girl.
His guy's girl.
I think he wanted to marry her or something like that.
I don't know, but it was that then. Fam, you're 30, you will be 39. I mean, you're 39 now, you'll be 40 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I will be 39 in a couple of weeks. Nigga, our childhood was more than 30 years ago.
Right.
It's that. It's all our childhood is built in videos and photos. But to somebody like my son's age, that shit don't matter. Mm-hmm. My son probably knows who Hulk Hogan is just because of the WWE. But he don't know the Impact.
Right.
I've never been a big Hogan fan. Never. But I know the Impact. But that shit's dead. That shit was 1984 to 1991. To me, Hulkamania is dead and it's been dead.
Yeah.
So I'm cool when it comes to these type of things to bury my childhood. The Hall of Fame, yes. Had them motherfuckers come up on the stage. Dun, 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 show the video packages, all that shit. That's when it needs to be alive. But hosting, all that, if you can't get somebody that's popular in mainstream and all that shit, get somebody that's popular in your locker room.
Word.
And that's, to me, unless somebody's going to tell me different, that's Billie Kay. Anytime she comes on TV, that shit is entertaining.
Hell yeah.
And do an iconic pose, all that shit. Like Peyton Royce, just do all that shit. But I don't want to see Hulk Hogan on my TV no more. He's 65, 66. All that shit, I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? But he should be older than Sting by now, right?
But yeah, he's older than Sting. It's Sting's birthday today, I think, or yesterday.
So he got to be like 65.
Yeah, I think he's like 65. I mean, honestly, I'd rather see Ric Flair host WrestleMania than see Hulk Hogan, but I don't want to see neither.
Right, true.
Give me somebody new, somebody fresh. Who's the Justin Hervey of today?
Yeah, they definitely need somebody that's more entertaining because, I mean, the reason why this hostings don't really go too well is because now they're just picking anybody that they're trying to promote a podcast for. And I think that's kind of why Alexa Bliss got her joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, hey, I totally understand it, but now she's a total different character than who she is on her podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good on the Hulk Hogan shit. But if we gotta choose, Vince came to me and was like, "Look, this is who we got. I'm picking Hulk Hogan. Fuck Terry Bollea." But I know the people go. I know when the music comes on, all them white motherfuckers in that damn crowd is going to go nuts.
Absolutely.
Now I know somebody's gonna say these names, this particular name, and I believe he was asked. He was like, "Nah, I'm good." That's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah.
I think the only reason why Stone Cold is not doing it because he don't want to. Because right now, if there's anybody that's on my TV and on the WWE Network more than most wrestlers, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think Stone Cold was like, "Nah, I'm straight.
Yeah.
I don't want to host it. I might make an appearance. I might stun Jey Uso."
Right.
Because if you look at the Birth of the Stunner video on the WWE Network, they specifically put the camera on him and asked him if he ever got a Stone Cold Stunner, and he said no, but I'll take it in a heartbeat. Now he did get stunned by Kevin Owens,
right? But that ain't the Stone Cold.
That ain't the Stone Cold Stunner. So, in my opinion, Jey Uso is probably going to get stunned by Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
Okay. Good moment for him.
Good.
He's earned that. Main event Jay has earned that.
Yeah, he's earned that. But that's the only thing I can think of, ladies and gentlemen. Like, Stone Cold should be your host, but you can't tell me Stone Cold didn't say no, because he would be the host. You can't tell me Vince McMahon ain't go to him and be like, "Hey, yo, Steve, it's Vince. WrestleMania, you want to host?"
Hey, everybody still like you. Everybody still loves you.
Yeah,
man.
everybody still love you. Because it's only going to be one person that gets a bigger pop when they music hits. And that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Know somebody's going to be like, yo, what about Shawn Michaels? I think we're good.
Yeah, nah. Now, Shawn Michaels may be like Shawn Michaels when we didn't think he was going to wrestle again. Yes, Shawn Michaels right now that's active in NXT and probably became the backstage. Not that guy.
And Shawn Michaels looked like what he should have been looking all his life from where he's from.
Yeah.
If this was the sexy boy Shawn Michaels,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
This ain't Shawn Michaels is
Yeah.
is Michael Hickenbottom.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels really like he from Texas, like now.
Yes, right. He's
Like he really from Texas now. I didn't believe it before, even when they had him doing the push-ups on the big.
He was from LA then.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Michael Hickenbottom is from San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
He's
Shawn
showing.
Michaels is from Malibu, California.
Right, they're right. He's from the Palisades. No, he's from Calabasas. This nigga we see right now,
Yeah. Nah, he's San Antonio.
He a couple of moves away from Skid Row, the way he be coming out sometimes. Shawn Michaels be coming out homeless as hell. You don't even know if he bald or not. We don't even know how that whole setup work.
Man.
Like if Shawn Michaels even if this version of Shawn Michaels even try to put on the pants with the mirrors on them, we'd be like, man, get the fuck out of here, fam.
Right.
Go get Shawn Michaels his shit back, Michael.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
man, what are you doing?
Yeah. Triple H is a suit. No. You know what? Ask the Undertaker. Ask me, Mark Callis. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I want to get that out the way before we get started with this pod, like heavily with the pod. Eric Bischoff is in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, about fucking time. But I get it though, because he's not a WWF or E product, so I get it.
But still, no. And I think we said this when the NWO was inducted. Well, last year when they was put in, but you know, all that. He should be a 2-time Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. That is the only thing that they got wrong in this.
Yep.
Because Eric Bischoff, obviously the man or the front office, the suit deserves his place, but also Eric Bischoff, the fourth member of the NWO, needs to, you know what I'm saying, be recognized as well. But
yep.
Fortunately, we live in a time of information and internet where nobody can deny what Eric Bischoff's contribution is. So I am glad that he gets his own moment, but he does need one of them NWO rings.
Yeah.
As well.
He definitely do. We're gonna get more into the NWO a little bit later today. 6, 1, 2, 3 Kids, Sean Waltman talked about returning to the ring and hopes to do it in the WWE. He's 48 years old now. Yeah. He's at an age where he ain't that much older than some of the people in the locker room.
Very true. Very true.
I'm not saying that I want to see him in the ring.
Right.
But he ain't much older than some of the people in the locker room.
Very true. So true to his gimmick, he really was something kid through the 90s. so I get it. But here's my thing, and you know what? And again, this is how I look at the veterans or the guys past their prime or the people long in the tooth, as they say. Do I remember you for having great matches? And when it comes to whether it's Six, whether it's X-Pac, whether it's the 1, 2, 3 Kid, I don't remember you having great matches. I remember you having cool, funny, or even dope moments, but not really great matches. So, and this is not even to say that he can't have one.
Right.
I'm just saying I don't remember it. So with that being said, I don't want to see him against Daniel Bryan.
Right.
I don't want to see him against Seth Rollins. I don't want to see him even against your Shinsuke, Cesaro, Apollo Crews, Big E. Nothing about his wrestling style or tenure really has me wanting to see him wrestle because he's the ultimate wrestling underdog story that had to be in positions where he had to get put over. I don't think he would be great at putting people over because now he's an undersized older man.
So let me go to the quote and everything. So, he had talked to SportsIllustrated.com about this.
Okay.
About a potential return to in-ring action, and if WWE isn't interested in his return, what could happen? He said, I would be psyched to have more matches in the WWE ring. If they're not interested, there are a lot of other places putting on great matches too. I didn't leave the business on my own terms. I wasted a lot of years of my life wandering around in the darkness, but I am grateful that I still have some time left, and the style has changed, which is good. The bumps are more meaningful than in my era, which is a difference. But they bump less. It extends your shelf life. And talking about can he keep up with today's young wrestlers, I watch the product now and I think if I have both knees under me, I could keep up with a lot of these guys. If people want me, I'll do it. But I'm also mindful of being the older guy taking up too much oxygen. That's not what I want. If there's some room to have me for a few matches, that's all I want. So, normally what we would do is talk about what happened on Raw. But we could do this real quick by saying this. Drew versus Bobby Lashley is official. We don't know why there's no number one contenders match at Fastlane, but it is what it is. There's not been no real build up. Yes or no? Do you think this hurts Lashley versus Drew long term for WrestleMania?
No.
All right. We good. Because we're going to have more important fish to fry. New Day won the tag team championships. AJ Styles and Omos challenged them for the tag team titles. This looks to be Shawn Michaels Diesel 2.0. Was it the right time to take the tag titles off of the Hurt Business? Yes or no?
No. No, but I get it.
All right. Edge versus Jey Uso was decent. Get ready for. Well, I'll actually save that to the end because I think that's good because I think we have another Steal the Show match. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. All that stuff. We're going to be talking about the oral history of the Big Show, right? Oh, Io Shirai and Rachel Gonzalez is going to main event night 1 of NXT TakeOver.
Hey, everybody's in trouble. Everybody's in trouble.
That right there might be the best night of the week. Of the whole week of WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't capping. That match might be the best match of the week. Now, I want to get to the nuts and bolts of this podcast because I think this is about to be an interesting conversation. I think we've beaten around the bush about this for a while. And Booker T on his podcast had a good conversation around AEW and if it's on the verge of becoming WCW. He talked about this on his Reality of Wrestling podcast. He recently talked about the signing of Sting, Christian Cage, Big Show Paul White, and the potential of others like rumors. Even talking about Sean Waltman. Sean Waltman ain't slick by saying if the WWE don't want me, there's other places I can go.
Right.
He ain't slick. He ain't slick by no means at all.
Right.
But Booker T believes that AEW is starting to get a little like WCW towards the end because of signings like this. Here's a quote. Right now, it seems like they're pulling a revamp of WCW. As far as signing veteran talent, guys well past their better years of their careers. Guys that young guys could take either one of two ways. Either these guys are here to help or these guys are here to take our spot. I was one of those young guys in WCW back then. I was coming up. I must say, a few of those guys came in, Kurt Hennig, Bret Hart. I got a chance to work with them, and they gave me some good feedback, and I felt a lot of energy from a few guys that came over. But the majority of those guys that came from the WWF, man, they were just coming to get a check. They was coming to get paid. Now, the part of beating around the bush is we've been saying on this podcast, AEW starting to look like may go in looking like what it looks, but they're gonna eventually look like WCW, and not the good WCW either.
No.
We talk about WCW 1999, 2000, going into 2001.
Yep.
But
Checks.
But before we go on, what are your thoughts on hearing Booker T say those things about AEW?
I think that he comes from the greatest place to say what he say, so I have no choice but to respect it. For those of you that may be unaware about Booker T, like Booker T comes from both sides, and he's still on this stance. Like he's coming from the side of being one of the up and comers in WCW, and watching 95 through 99 happen, and then he's also the guy who was super OG, but then had the chance to go to TNA and do his thing in the midst of your Bobby Roode and AJ Styles just now and Jay Lethal's starting to get their recognition and attention. So when he's like, man, this is an issue, and they're starting to look like the old WCW, I have to respect it because he's been on both sides, and he knows that some guys are here to make things better, and some guys are here to get as many checks as they can before the clock really times out on them, and It's time to roll out. I do agree with him, and I mean, because this is what I've been saying off and on, even though I've watched very little AEW, but every time there is a pop or a conversation to be had about something new happening in AEW, it's never about solely the new talent. It's about the guys that are, quote, jumping ship or returning from the now disbanded and defunct WCW. Y'all went up for Sting. Y'all went up for Arn Anderson. Y'all going up for Paul White. Y'all going up for Christian. Like, y'all actually got Tully Blanchard trending. Like,
man.
So yeah, to me, this is like rugged Ronnie Garvin showing up with the red towel. You know what I'm saying?
Now.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Now. If there's anybody that could talk about this, it is Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we talked about, Booker T was that guy in WCW. He was that guy in TNA. And in some cases, he was that guy in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question in my mind Booker T could still go today. He probably can't go like his 1999 or 2005, 2010. But there's no question in my mind Booker T could get in the wrestling ring right now and give you 10 minutes.
For sure.
Booker T looks to be in tremendous shape. Booker T has a style that doesn't involve him being like a high flyer and all that. So it would disappoint me to see if Booker T would have signed with another company after hearing these comments. I think these comments kind of put yourself in a trick bag. I think these comments are pro WWE because the homie's leaving and you got to hold the company down. Now, I'm not calling him a company man. I'm all down for him and what he's saying because I think he's 100% right. And he has his own with reality of wrestling. So I don't want anybody to take it like I'm shitting on Booker T because I'm not.
You know,
it's just I would expect that from somebody that's still employed by the company.
Okay.
Of saying these things. And sometimes it's not the messenger, it's the message. It just so happens that the messenger is in his 50s. But he's 100% right. Like, we talked about this on Clubhouse. We talked about this here. And we talked about it with Hulk Hogan. I don't want to see Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania hosted.
Right.
I don't. But I get the nostalgia piece. But this piece has to work where these cats are not coming in and really calling a shot. Mm-hmm. And I can't see somebody going to AEW and not calling a shot.
Right. Shit, that's been the allure of the company, right?
Right. You
the
go over there and do
have
what you
creative
want.
control.
Yeah. So if I'm Booker T, I'm going to go to AEW and lose to Scorpio Sky.
No.
If I'm Rob Van Dam, I'm about to go put over Ricky Starks. And I say Ricky Starks because Sting ain't put him over.
Man. Man, listen.
Now, to some of these wrestlers, just being in a match with me puts them over. Mm-hmm. Because I give them spotlight and all of this. Mm-hmm. That's going to be their mind frame. It's going to be their mindset. I know when Hulk Hogan came over, I know Hulk Hogan was like, I want matches with Ric Flair. Hey, but we want to put over this Chris Jericho guy. Who the fuck, nigga? What?
Right.
Exact words. Who the fuck, nigga? What? And I want to give you two ways of thinking at WCW too. Who the fuck, nigga? What? Who the fuck is Billy Kidman? He's not going over against Hulk Hogan. He's going up against Terry Bollea.
Right.
Think about that. He had that feud with Kidman. He was like, "Fuck, I fuck Hulk Hogan right now. I'm Terry Bollea, nigga. Mm-hmm. Fuck y'all alone." Like when Hulk Hogan got to the got to WCW. Mm-hmm. No, let's go back to the 80s when Hulk Hogan got back to the WWF.
Yeah.
They was getting from under the Bob Backlund years and all that shit. But then, in his mid 30s, it's like Bob Backlund old. Because he was in his 40s when he got back to the WWE.
Yep, that's right. 43 years old in the Rumble.
Right. Well, all them cats was young. But then as they got older, they was like, yo, we about to phase these people out. Mm-hmm. The WWE, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong, you could tweet me on this. Or Camp, you could tell me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. AJ Styles is the oldest nigga that I could think of that came to the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And
like the first time? Yeah.
That's the first person I can remember that was older or around 40 that never set foot, well, I ain't gonna say never set foot, but never was a major contributor to the WWE. Right. Maybe Ric Flair is the first. Because I don't know how old Ric Flair was. I can't think of how old Ric Flair was when he got to the WWE in 1991.
I would have guessed he was. My guess would be he was in his late 30s then, only because he was telling them like, "Yo, I need to."
Yes, he was. Because we talked about that on the show. My bad. Yeah. Ric Flair was in his late 30s when he got. So let's go 40, because a lot of these niggas is older than 40.
Yeah,
that's coming. AJ Styles is the only person I know that came up in the building at 40 and was killing.
Yeah.
Now, these other cats go to these other organizations. So they have went through the travel of WWE, being on the road for over 300 days a year, getting all of the money and everything, spending a number of years there. And Vince McMahon saying, you know what? It's time for me to get younger. Hulk Hogan is one of those people. Goes to WCW. To me, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when we talk about the Big Show in a couple of minutes. Even though Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, that couldn't have been the worst time for me in WCW.
Okay.
Because then everybody old started coming. Yeah. Macho Man came, and you see Paul Orndorff a little bit more, but you got the young cats like Tuco Scorpio Marcus Alexander Bagwell, basically jobbing out to these cats.
Johnny B. Bad.
Yeah, Johnny B. And he left. He went. All the young niggas left and went to WWF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Triple H left. WWF. Edge. Sexton Hardcastle. WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if WCW would have took some of that young talent that they had that was bubbling and not got all the old niggas because they was leaving WWE. Like, Ming.
Right, yeah.
Haku the Ming. The Barbarian pop up again. It was like, yo, shit.
Shark.
Yeah, like, we gonna get into the Dungeon of Doom. Like I said, we gonna get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see, then when they start to get a tad younger, it's they're all in like cruiserweights and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the old niggas is dominating the titles and the mid card titles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even the TV championships. So when I see Paul White, Christian, Sting, and AEW, it reeks of WCW.
Hell yeah.
6, Sean Waltman. 1, 2, 3 Kid. Oh yeah, there's other places. He ain't talking about Impact. He ain't talking about Ring of Honor.
All right.
Talking about AEW.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing, but I think it eventually becomes a bad thing for the product if you're not getting these old niggas in and out.
Word.
There was a name that was mentioned in the clip, and I'm gonna pose this question to you.
Mm-hmm.
If there was an old nigga
Mm-hmm.
that left the WWE to come to AEW,
Mm-hmm.
who would that old nigga be?
So,
And they don't have to be an active wrestler,
right?
because they named one person that wasn't an active wrestler.
Right. So should I name this based on what's happening, or
Yep.
who it should, or who it, the type of person it should be?
Nah, they name it whoever you want it.
Okay. As far as people jumping ship, I think that it would be somebody like, you know what? I don't know. But I'll say this. But I do want to say this because I want to get this name out. The caliber of person that should be going to AEW to make a splash or to really help out is Batista.
He's been rumored.
Oh shit. Hey.
He's definitely been rumored.
Because going to Booker T's point, like, I'm sorry, but Paul White and Christian ain't moving my needle like that. Batista is, though. Like, Batista coming to AEW in this era is like a Macho Man Randy Savage going to WCW. Mm-hmm. Back in like 94, 95. You know what I'm saying? Like, Christian ain't that. Like, Christian's not even Mr. Perfect going to WCW in 98, 99 for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not Rick Rude going back to me. It's definitely not Hulk Hogan going back. You know what I'm saying? This is your, to me, Christian is your Earthquake being the Shark. It is your Tugboat being the Shockmaster. It's like, oh yeah, I can tie you to good positive memories and nostalgia. And don't get me wrong, Christian is decorated. He's a champion, world champion, singles, tag team, long history. But I've never, ever in my entire wrestling life tuned in for a pay-per-view dying to see Christian.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, one of the names that was mentioned in that reality of wrestling clip was Mark Henry.
Yes.
I don't want to see Mark Henry in a wrestling ring ever again.
Nope.
I'll see him on the program.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in the back and you be like, oh man, it's Mark Henry. Hey man, how you doing? Oh man, I'm just here to check out the product. Boom, boom, boom. Hey man, good luck. Like that shit.
Right.
I don't want to see him in the ring wrestle nobody. I don't want to see him take a bump.
You know, Mark Henry's greatest run isn't worthy of him going somewhere else and getting the run now.
But now the thing about it is Mark Henry is only wrestled in the WWE.
Right.
Underneath the WWE umbrella.
Right.
I don't want to see him do that shit even just to do it outside of the company. No, I'm good. And you know what? I disagree with you as far as a run good enough, because that Hall of Pain is going to resonate anywhere, everywhere.
True.
This is more, for me, it's more about health. And who the fuck you gonna pair him with? Lance Archer? Like, there's not a wrestler, even now, and it's fucked up saying this.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a wrestler in AEW right now, and I said this about the Big Show too. There's not a wrestler in AEW that I would say, oh man, I look forward to them wrestling Mark Henry.
Right. Well, see, then we agree then, because you and I love Hall of Fame Mark Henry. That run is his greatest run.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, even with that greatest run, you can't see him going anywhere else or wrestling anybody else.
Okay, and you know what? That's okay. I get what you're saying, but here's the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Moose, I love to see him go to Impact.
Okay.
It's just not a wrestler in AEW to me that makes me go, man, I want to see them. I want to see Brian Cage versus Mark Henry.
Right. No, not at all. But
like, I don't want to see that.
And the thing is, but see how you said Impact? So that means the talent that they're building up, like, you see a future for them, but getting over on a
like Tony Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer is 50 years old and just wrestled Rich Swann for the championship.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a Tommy Dreamer match.
Yeah.
But Tommy Dreamer we knew Tommy Dreamer ain't had no chance of getting over.
Right.
Tommy Dreamer historically don't even win matches like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it basically led to him putting over two wrestlers who end up wrestling next. Where some of these older niggas is like, yo, I'm about to wrestle them for 3 straight pay-per-views. Like, you got to cycle these old niggas in and out. That's what it is. Get them in, get them out. Get them in, get them out. Mark Henry just, like, or Christian. As crazy as it may sound, I don't want to see Christian versus Kenny Omega.
No.
I don't want to see Christian versus Cody Rhodes. I seen it.
Right.
Like that. It was fucked up is, I don't want to see John Cena against a lot of niggas up in there too. I might want to see John Cena versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Now that I will. Okay, cool. But I seen him against Cody Rhodes. I seen him against some of these other cats. I'm good. There's not dream match worthy opponents for a lot of cats.
Because it ain't dream match niggas being signed.
There you go.
Like that's and again, man, no disrespect. Like no disrespect. But like again, man, like there is a thing between like great wrestlers, wrestling stars, and wrestling superstars. AEW is not loaded with wrestling superstars. They there with niggas that think they can still wrestle. Like, that's still trying to get those paydays. That's still trying to headline those pay-per-views. And it just ain't that. Like, that's why I shortchanged and had to apologize to Edge for his pop at the Royal Rumble. And I can be like, I don't respect Paul White's wrestling mind enough to think this AEW move is going to move the needle for a lot of people.
Now, Daniel Bryan goes over to AEW. Let's talk.
Yes.
Let's talk.
All bets are off. Because
Let's talk.
That's huge.
Right.
That is huge.
AJ Styles go over to AEW. Let's talk.
Bruh. Man, listen.
You know, Ricochet goes over to AEW and he's a younger cat. So I'll stay with the older cats. Edge go over to AEW. Let's talk.
Man.
Like
that helps Christian out tremendously.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
Let's talk about, but who they currently have now, I'm good. I just thought it was interesting, something to bring up, because a lot of wrestlers that we're looking at now in 5 years are going to be that older cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what a lot of wrestling fans, especially AEW wrestling fans, don't understand is that you might get Kevin Owens in the AEW ring. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens going to be 40.
Word, yeah.
You might get Sami Zayn over there. He's going to be 40.
All right.
You going to feel the same way about that product? when they start burying some of these younger cats that they did sign, that you do hope to grow and hope to get these title shots, but then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come over, and now they are your world and your TNT champions.
Right. Listen, and to be honest, those moves again are still better than the moves that they are making now.
Yeah.
Even at 40, I'll take Kevin Owens at 40 over Christian right now.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like, yo, it's the thing about it, and I like that he used Eric Bischoff's quote, that being Booker T in the Hall of Fame, a segment. But he was like, yo, it helps the cachet and it helps, you know what I'm saying, bring value. I was like, but you're talking to the guy who signed Hulk Hogan, who signed Macho Man Randy Savage,
right,
who signed Bret Hart. Like, it's like, yeah, fam, of course you think it works. Look who you signed.
Right. It's almost like a guaranteed bag. It's like, here you go, it's you.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart didn't, but Bret Hart ain't work.
Yeah. Like you signed Hall and Nash in their wrestling character primes. Like, yeah, of course you think this shit work.
Right.
That ain't what they doing.
Right.
That's not what they doing, though.
They're signing Ming.
Yeah.
They're signing the Barbarian.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And then saying, oh, look who just came. Look who just came to AEW.
Right.
It's Ming.
Man.
It's Jake the Snake Roberts.
Right. Meanwhile, you signed Lex Luger twice off the strength of your top guy after he had already increased his visibility.
It's DDP. Oh my goodness. It's Tully Blanchard wrestles on television for the first time in 40 years.
That's nuts.
It wasn't 40. I think it was more 30. 25.
It was near there though.
Like JJ Dillon being popped out.
Like, fam.
Nah, I'm good. Next thing you know, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is going to be wrestling.
Right.
They cycled Buddy ass in when he did that run, and I forgot who he wrestled, but he ended up hurting his back, and they weren't able to finish the match like he looked like they could have. But he looked good when it was like Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I think it was Chris Jericho or somebody.
Yeah.
But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat looked good, but for 50.
Right. That's the thing.
But the nostalgia kicked in. But when we meant one more match, we literally meant one more match. One. And another one who's Smoking Skull Sessions is out. I just put it on the network and it's right there waiting for me when it is over with. Randy Orton.
Man, right. Hey.
Randy Orton is now 40. If Randy Orton decides to leave the WWE after this contract expired, go to AEW.
Yeah, because and again, that's huge for them.
Yes,
that would be huge for them. But like, just sign them motherfuckers, man. Like, don't no limit this, bro.
Right.
Like, don't no limit this.
And I'm gonna bring one pay-per-view up. Mm-hmm. Don't Slamboree 93 yourself.
Man, listen. Slamboree 1993. You're gonna make me look at the card now.
Okay, well, let's go.
Because I remember the moments, but I want to look at the card.
Let's look at Slamboree 93, a Legends reunion. This was your card. Tuco Scorpio and Marcus Bagwell versus Bobby Eaton and Chris Benoit. Sid Vicious versus Van Hammer. But wait a minute. We got to mix the old niggas in here. Dick Murdoch, Don Morocco, and Jimmy Snuka fought Wahoo McDaniel, Blackjack Mulligan, and Jim Brunzell to a no contest.
Man, listen.
Thunderbolt Patterson and Brad Armstrong defeated Ivan Koloff and Baron Von Raschke. Dory Funk Jr. with Gene Kaninsky fought Nick Bockwinkel with Vern Gagne to a time limit draw. Rick Rude and Paul Orndorff defeated Dustin Rhodes and Kensuke Sasaki. I love Kensuke Sasaki. I used to love homie.
Yeah.
Sting defeated The Prisoner, who was Nails, leading to Sting having some terrible ass. Yeah.
Yep.
The Hollywood Blondes defeated Dos Hombres, Ricky Steamboat and Tom Zink. Barry Windham defeated Arn Anderson, and Davey Boy Smith defeated Vader by disqualification. That's when I believe that's when Cactus Jack had came back, and he didn't have amnesia no more.
That's right.
Let's go to Slamboree 1994.
Yeah.
Let's go to 1994.
But real quick. Oh no, I'm sorry. No. I'm gonna say this because I want you to do the '94 card too.
Go ahead, because it's only one.
Oh no, go ahead. No, go ahead with it.
Terry Funk versus Tully Blanchard.
And this is 1993 and 4, ladies and gentlemen. We are 11 to 13 when this is happening.
Yeah.
Do you think, as a young wrestling fan, that Chief Wahoo McDaniel was moving my needle?
Oh my God, Chief Wahoo McDaniel was about to wrestle?
Do you think Baron Von Raschke
Hell no.
my fucking needle?
Hell no.
When Ivan Koloff came out there, I said, "Where is Nikita?"
Right.
Like, fam. And like, yo, okay. Obviously, fan of Dustin Rhodes, so we never slandered Dustin Rhodes. But pairing Ricky Steamboat with Tom Zink to go against Steve Austin and Brian Pillman.
Oh, real quick, 1995, that Legends match was Wahoo McDaniel versus Dick Murdoch.
So you tell me. So right now, there's no question why Hulk Hogan got hired. There's no question why the Macho Man, because that's what happened, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, yo, let's sign the savvy KG vets past their prime. We'll give them a moment on the pay-per-view and see what happens. And then that shit starts bricking. So what do you do now? You do wait for Vince to be like, no, we good, fam.
We good.
And you hope it's a superstar, but here's the problem. The guy that they would be trying to get right now would be John Cena.
Yep.
You think he's fucking leaving?
No.
The guy right now will be Randy Orton. He's not leaving. They're not fucking leaving. Like, the show will go on. Like, yo, it's not happening like that. So this is collectively what is happening here.
Yeah.
Like, the window is AJ Styles. Again, it's John Cena. It's Randy Orton. It's even because he started late, but he's still in the era. It would be Batista. Like, the guys that would be going to make AEW pop, unfortunately and fortunately, Vince has paid them too well to be like, man, I'm not doing all that shit.
Yeah. So speaking of people long in the tooth that's leaving the WWE to go to AEW, it is now time for the real nigga oral history of the Big Show. Yeah. Or how The Rock put it, the Big Slow.
Yeah. Yeah, the Big Slow.
Now, as we always do for the real nigga oral histories, we talk about these wrestlers in our way. How we thought about these wrestlers growing up, how we thought about these matches growing up. Right. This is not a real, true Hollywood, Discovery Plus type shit.
But it might be more accurate since they
might be more right.
People
it might be more accurate. We talking about these cats and how, and some of their bigger moments and what we thought about their bigger moments. Now, in some cases, some cats might love some of these bigger moments where we might think you were capping. All right, so because of Camp's slander last week of the Big Show, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the Big Show.
Let's do it.
Because it was a thought came over my head. And this is no disrespect to Paul White or the Big Show. This is more about how respected he was as a big man. Mm-hmm. And I might, towards the end of this, discuss how Paul White should have left the WWE a long time ago if it was about respect. But he had no choice. Let's go to the beginning of this shit. So I saw this in his documentary and I thought it was weird. But Danny Bonaducci, homie from the Partridge Family, is the person who introduces Paul White to Hulk Hogan. It's a charity game. It's like WCW versus people. He introduces Paul White to Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan looks at him. Says, "Oh, you a big slab of meat. Think we could do some business with you." And he brings him to Eric Bischoff, who they promptly signed him to a deal. He only wrestled one match prior to signing with WCW. I believe Paul White went to Wichita State.
Okay.
And played basketball.
Okay.
I think it was Wichita State. He was definitely a big guy growing up. And learned a lot during the documentary about and yes, it was Wichita State, but learned a bit about like the condition that he had, where they basically had to stop him from growing. And that was interesting throughout that documentary, learning that. But I digress. He goes to WCW. Now, apparently, when he shows up on WCW, Vince McMahon is pissed at somebody. And it's wild to hear the story. He was pissed at the late, great, but he's pissed at his whole front office. Here's why. He was pissed because apparently Paul White was trying to get into WWE. And he did some training. One trainer was like, "Y'all, I'm good. I ain't training your big ass. You ain't got no experience." The Monster Factory, owned by Larry Sharp, he paid them $5,000. But Larry Sharp had the gout, apparently, and he couldn't do much. And Johnny Polo, who is Raven, he taught him to do a collar and elbow tie-up. But he did an audition tape. He gave it to Mike Chioda, longtime referee who he had met in the bar. And he forwarded it to Pat Patterson. He was like, "Fuck this, I ain't watching this." Because he might be like Kurgan. But when they...
Wait, no. Rewind that the fuck back. Rewind that the fuck back.
We already got a big nigga that don't do shit.
Rewind, no, you must.
All right, let me rewind that back.
I need the last two receipts.
He made an audition tape. He gave it to Mike Chioda, who he met at the bar. Mike Chioda forwarded it to Pat Patterson, who didn't bother watching it. He assumed that he was Kurgan. So he pops up on TV, and Pat Patterson's like, "Oh, Vince, I gotta tell you something. I had that man tape, and I ain't watch it." And Vince was pissed.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. So, the Big Show, apparently from there, now he's signed. He appears at Slamboree. And he's billed as Hulk Hogan's mortal enemy, Andre the Giant's son. And they gave him the ring name, the Giant. Now, I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
I, for one, was pissed that they gave him the title of Andre the Giant's son, that they were alluding to it. How did you feel?
I was kind of in disbelief, but I won't front for y'all. At that point in time, I still believed a lot of like wrestling, like a lore, like storylines, because like by then, you know, like Owen and Brett are really brothers, you know. Like people are really related in wrestling. So I'm like, oh wow, you know, yeah, you know what? And Andre the Giant, I think, had just passed like a couple years ago, before it was like 93. So the timeline of it was kind of fucking perfect. So like I really believed he had a son, because I've never seen Andre the Giant's funeral. I never.
Now, what's fucked up is I remember them talking about the death of Andre the Giant, and they never said he had any kids.
See?
So my ass was
Over
like,
my head.
get the fuck out of here. This ain't this nigga kid. Out of all the motherfuckers they gonna use Andre the Giant for this motherfucker. He ain't even here. And Hulk Hogan acting like this motherfucker really his son. Like damn, I remember seeing you when you was 10, nigga. Now you big as hell. Oh shit, now you want to beat me?
Right. Hey, look, and me being a Hulkamaniac, when Hogan got scared, I got scared. So I was like, oh shit, it really is.
So then from there, they set up the match with the two at Halloween Havoc for the championship. I had got it wrong. It wasn't uncensored. It was Halloween Havoc.
Okay.
That's why I got it wrong. And he ended up winning the match by disqualification. Jimmy Hart had got Hulk Hogan disqualified and did a heel turn. That's also when Loch Ness came down and they was humping him. They was both humping Hogan. Bow, bow, bow. The next night, he went on Nitro and he had the belt. Apparently, Jimmy Hart had put in the contract that Hogan could lose the belt by disqualification. Therefore, he lost the belt. WCW was like, nah, nigga, we ain't doing that shit. And that's how World War III, one of my favorite pay-per-views, came about. And in that pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan ended up getting pulled out by the Giant when he was thrown out, thus giving Macho Man Randy Savage the World Championship and, the 3-ring Battle Royal. Now, the bitching of the Giant, of the Big Show, starts early in his career, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, he loses that. Then he gets the belt back. He defeated Ric Flair. Now, something to this. The Giant beats Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair to win his first 2 world championships.
Right.
That's lit.
Yeah. Hell yeah. There are literally not 5 people in wrestling ever that can say that.
Right. I think he's the only one. But after short feuds with people and then moving things around, he gets the belt, beating Ric Flair. Then the greatest thing in wrestling happens, the New World Order. And Hulk Hogan, after he forms the New World Order, he defeated the Giant for the title at Hog Wild. Basically solidifying the whole thing about the New World Order with help with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Now, there's one thing that I want to talk about here, and I was kind of bringing it up. Where is the Dungeon of Doom on your worst factions of all time list?
Man, they are definitely... Well, they're in the bottom 5 now because of Retribution. So they're not in the bottom 3 anymore. They're in the bottom 5.
Yeah. They're the worst for me. It ain't even close.
Because, I do have them. And honestly, no joke, because of specifically Kevin Sullivan and the Giant is the only reason why I have them above Right to Censor, Retribution.
You didn't like Right to Censor?
Nah.
Damn.
I totally got it.
Stevie Richards should have won the world championship.
That was a great run for him.
He did on the video game.
Yeah. He definitely does in the video game. And what was the other one? In the Job Squad. Again, I get it. Get that. But I was like, nah, man. I'm just not fucking with this. I mean, cause shit, I was very high on Val Venus as is. So you can't give him a tie, man. Fuck it. He don't want him to be Dilbert. What the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hated the Dungeon of Doom. They brought in all of the old niggas to try to beat Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It was trash. When they brought in the Brutus the Barber Beefcake, that was really the clincher. They brought in these new names.
The Zodiac, right? No,
right,
the Booty Man.
Like the Booty Man, the Zodiac, Man with No Name, all types of shit. But he was terrible. Like, they brought in all of these old niggas. Z Gangster. Yeah, I was just like, this shit. And then they had him in like a real dungeon with Curtis Ikea, big as hell, sitting on the throne and everything. And then you had Kevin Sullivan, my master. I have another present from Hulk Hogan's past who are going to destroy Hulkamania. It's Kamala.
Right,
What the
like-
fuck, fam?
Like Kevin Sullivan was literally Krang on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Basically.
He just was coming up with just different shit.
Yeah, like that was the worst for me. Here's some of the people that was in the Dungeon of Doom.
Let's talk about it.
Other than Kevin Sullivan and Curtis Ikea, the Master. Kamala, Lex Luger, the Yeti. Not the Yeti, the Yeti, because that's how they said that shit on WCW.
Yep.
Jimmy Hart, the Shark, Vader, Zodiac, Ming, we said the Giant, Hugh Morris, the Barbarian, Conan, Max. Who the fuck is Max? I don't know. Glacier, who was the bodyguard of Kevin Sullivan. Big Bubba. Who the fuck was Braun, the Leprechaun?
Yo,
Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. One Man Gang. I said Z Gangster. Loch Ness. Jacqueline was a member of the Dungeon of Doom. And the Ultimate Solution.
wait, what? I don't even remember who the fuck that is. The Ultimate Solution,
Yeah.
which was to kill this shit and let's move forward. Shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, out. Whew. Yeah. The Dungeon Doom was terrible, ladies and gentlemen, but we digress. From there, he becomes the 5th member of the NWO. The Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, first 3. Then they bring in Billionaire Ted as the 4th member. And then the Giant becomes the 5th member. So after getting bitched out about Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall because of Billionaire Ted's money, you say, you know what? The NWO ain't that bad.
True.
So I'ma go over there. But he ends up getting kicked out of the NWO quickly.
Yeah.
I think he was there for 3 months. So he wins World War III, the Battle Royal in 1996. And he asked Hogan for a title shot where they promptly whooped his ass and kicked him out.
Yeah. Ain't no place for that.
There ain't no place for you challenging Hulk Hogan for shit, fam. You know what this is. Fuck is wrong with you? Now in 1997, it was kind of a fucked up year for the Giant because Kevin Nash put him in a powerbomb and botched it and hurt his neck.
Yeah. Fucked up.
And so they weaved that in the storyline saying that Kevin Nash did that on purpose because to get the Giant out because he's the 1-2 Giant. But then remember around that time also the Wolfpack splits away. Kevin Nash splits away from the NWO and he makes the Wolfpack. So you have NWO Hollywood, NWO Wolfpack. The Giant was like, you know what? I don't fuck with him. So I'm going to go to the NWO Hollywood. Now, at the time, that didn't make sense to me. But if you ever seen the movie City of God, that storyline now makes sense now more than ever.
Okay.
Because if you watch City of God, you have Knockout Ned and you have Lil Z's people. Them two didn't like each other. There was a lot of shit that went on between Lil Z and Knockout Ned. They were never friends. It was just some weird shit that happened. You had to watch the movie. But people who hated Lil Z was joining Knockout Ned's group. While people who hated Knockout Ned was joining Lil Z's group. It wasn't about the two leaders. It was about, I hate that other guy.
Right.
So the Giant joins NWO Hollywood because he want to kill Kevin Nash.
Yeah, an enemy of my enemy is a friend.
Now, because of the finger poke of doom, the NWO, the split is no longer.
Right.
Wolfpack joins Hollywood, and they're back to being a happy family. But Hulk Hogan says, there's only room for one Giant in here. Y'all two got to fight. Well, we know who gets kicked out.
Yeah.
The Big Show.
Yeah.
So he's been kicked out of the NWO twice. Being bitched out, basically.
The biggest member of the NWO gets kicked out twice. Not quit twice, kicked out twice.
Now, on some money shit behind the scenes, The Big Show found out that he was making only a fraction of what the main eventers was making. And they never gave him a raise like he requested. So he allowed his contract to expire. And he joined the WWE as the hottest free agent in the industry. He's actually the first wrestler that I can remember hearing them use the term free agent.
True.
The hottest free agent. According to the blogs, he signed a 10-year contract with the WWF, and he debuted under his real name. And what happened is as St. Valentine's Day Massacre in your house, I think that was the last in your house too. There was a cage match between Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. He came from the canvas underneath the ring. He tore it up and he attacked Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he threw him onto the side of the cage. The cage broke and Steve Austin had fell out the ring. Thus, if you know what happens during the cage match, he wins the match because he's exiting the cage.
Right.
Vince McMahon is pissed. Then at WrestleMania, he makes his debut. We talked about this last week against Mankind for the right to referee the match at WrestleMania 15, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. He beats the shit out of Mankind with a chair, I believe it was, and he's disqualified. Vince McMahon is pissed. He slaps him, he punches him, and he basically tells him, "You're out." Big Show gives him that and shit, so Vince McMahon runs off. But now he's a face. Now he turns a face, but he still got the thing with Mankind. They wrestles in the boiler room brawl. But here's something that I don't remember. Maybe you do. There was a faction called the Union.
Oh shit! No, I don't remember that. The
Must
Union?
have been. So apparently the Union had the Big Show in it. Who else was in that joint? The Big Show. It had Test, Ken Shamrock, and Mankind, and they were going up against the corporation. So it was basically like the Union going up against the corporation.
So is this when the corporate ministry was being formed and they got all kicked out? Okay.
Yes.
They gave them motherfuckers a name?
I did not know.
I just thought they was the ones that got kicked out. Because I remember this moment because it was the corporate team at first.
Right.
Then it was the corporate ministry.
Yeah, I didn't remember that at all. I didn't remember they had a name and all of that shit. But then here comes one of the worst feuds ever. Matter of fact, that year, the Wrestling Observer named this feud the worst feud of the year. Big Show versus the Big Show. I mean, Big Show versus the Big Boss Man.
Hey, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. Now,
Explain.
That's some of Big Boss Man's best work.
Oh, it's some of his best work, but the feud was terrible.
Is it though?
Man, that shit was terrible for me.
Wait.
The only, and I think we're gonna have the same moment that was only funny to me.
Well, wait. We got two. We gotta have two.
Go ahead.
Wait. The dog wasn't him.
No.
Right? Okay, never mind. Okay, all right. Because I was like, no.
But the casket, driving off with the casket, was him.
Yeah, the casket. No, man. Hey, listen, man. Hey, if that don't lead to a match, I don't know what will. But the fact that he was pulling off.
Yeah, and like the casket fell out.
And he was dragging it. And the Big Show was on it trying to stop.
Man, boy.
Hey, Boss Man killed that shit. I get it because I don't remember the matches, y'all. I'm keeping it being with you.
Yeah.
I don't remember the fucking matches. I just remember him popping hard shit about his pops and then showing up to the funeral, hitching the fucking casket up to the fucking I think it was a hearse or was it the police
it was a hearse. It was a hearse.
And he drove off with that bitch. And the Big Show jumped on it trying to save it. It was rolling in the dirt. Hey, Boss Man was on this shit. I don't think he did anything wrong that entire year.
Hey, this was more about the Big Show than it was about the Big Boss Man. Let me just tell you that. They end up wrestling each other and all of that stuff. So that shit right there, I mean, yeah, it was hilarious, but it was a terrible ass feud.
Yeah.
For me. All right. So also during that time, he took on the Big Boss Man, Prince Albert, Mideon, and Viscera in the 4-on-1 elimination match. So yeah, that whole shit was terrible. But he ended up winning, surprisingly. He ended up winning the championship in the triple threat match at Armageddon.
Yeah.
Against The Rock and Triple H.
Yeah.
This was long-haired Big Show. And then he ended up wrestling the Big Show at Armageddon to retain the belt.
Wait,
now,
who?
Say it again.
You said, who did he wrestle?
Against the Big Boss Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, against the Big Boss Man. Now, on January 3rd, one of those first episode of Raws of the year, Triple H defeat Big Show for the WWF Championship. Now, he was pissed, and he went up against, when he went to the Royal Rumble that year, where he was eliminated by The Rock. But the Big Show was like, nah, fuck that. His feet hit the ground. So they wrestled at No Way Out with the title shot on the line. And the Big Show aligned himself with Shane McMahon, and he defeated The Rock, so he got the title shot. So then The Rock was like, nah, I need my shit back. So then, remember, if you can remember, The Rock wrestled the Big Show, and if he won, the match would become a triple threat match. And if he lost, he would have to retire. Shane McMahon was the referee, and all of that, but he ended up winning that match. I believe he had won that match. But then no, excuse me. He lost that match, but they finessed it. Then on March 20th, Triple H defended the title against The Rock and the Big Show that the match would not take place at WrestleMania. Now, that shit was weird. No, The Rock won that match, excuse me. But then they had the triple threat match because then that was at Chicago. Yes, that match was at Chicago. That was one of the best Raws ever. Because then that was the match where Linda McMahon came through and was like, nah, y'all right. It's not going to be a triple threat match. It's going to be a fatal four-way match. And then that's when Mick Foley came in. And that was the match at WrestleMania 2000 where there was a McMahon in every corner.
Yes.
And the Big Show was the first person eliminated out of that match.
Asexual. Asexual.
And then after that WrestleMania, I don't think you remember this, but let me refresh your memory. He started mimicking other wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
You remember he was Shohan the Barbarian. He was Val Venus, the Big Showbowski. He beat Kurt Angle dressed like Hulk Hogan. I don't know if you remember. He even had the hairpiece thing. Yep. Also, he did the Rikishi bit too.
Yeah. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, he was Eugene with the actual gear on.
He was. What's my man's name? Well,
Axelmania, he was also doing that kind of too.
Yeah, but what's my man's name? Who was with the Miz?
Oh, Riley, A-Rai.
No,
Damien Sandow. Sorry,
yes, he was Damien Sandow before Damien Sandow.
But yeah.
But the Big Show started gaining the weight a lot around this time, bigger than he normally was. Remember Shane McMahon had wrestled him in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Like everybody helped out in that match. Then he returned. Then he became a heel again. He beat up the Undertaker. And him and Shane got together. Now here's another stable I did not remember. The Conspiracy.
All right, man, they're making shit up now.
Now, apparently, there was a stable with Shane McMahon, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Edge, and Christian.
That had a name? Like, I really just thought that was shit that happened.
And I don't remember this at all.
Like, I do remember because, like, This is because the Main Street Posse is dead and gone at this point. I do remember that. And I mean, I do remember them pairing like Edge and Christian around. I didn't know Chris Benoit was in that shit. I'm keeping it real.
None of that shit.
But like, yeah, that was like that had a name. I thought that was just like Shane McMahon on this still like, hey, I got money too. See, I bought WCW. Bruh. Remember? Like,
I remember none of that shit.
Yeah,
none of it. But then a little bit after that, the Undertaker threw the Big Show off of a stage, and we didn't see his ass for a while because he had to go lose weight.
Yep, definitely remember that moment.
Yes. So the Big Show comes back to the Royal Rumble. He's eliminated by The Rock, quick as hell. He's mad about that. He beat the shit out of The Rock, and then he started doing the hardcore matches. Remember, he defeated Raven to win the championship, and he did the triple threat match with Kane and Raven at WrestleMania 7.
Wow.
During the invasion, he was cool with the WWF, even though he was a WCW homegrown talent. He faced Shane McMahon in the last man standing match at Backlash, which we all know that was one of Shane McMahon's famous spots, jumping off of shit. And then he was also a part of Team WWF at the Survivor Series. And guess who was the first man eliminated?
Well, this is the Big Show.
Yeah. After WrestleMania 8, he went to the Raw brand when they did the draft. He turned heel when he beat the shit out of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the tag match. And guess who he joined again?
McMahon, the corporations? Oh, yeah, right, because the NWO.
He is a 3-time member of the NWO, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
But we all know what happened with that shit. As far as the NWO goes, that shit disbanded when Kevin Nash got injured, and then he started kind of being like a jobber. He even lost to Jeff Hardy. What the fuck? But then he got traded to SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? When Kemp was saying all that shit about the Big Show, I brought up this version of the Big Show, which in my opinion might have been the best version of the Big Show in the WWE. When he ended up defeating Brock Lesnar when Paul Heyman decided to become his manager and leave the next big thing.
Yeah.
He started wearing jeans. He cut his hair and all that shit. And like I said, he defeated Brock Lesnar at the Survivor Series, ending his undefeated streak when Paul Heyman turned heel and joined him. But he ended up losing the belt to Kurt Angle like a month later. And that man couldn't keep a belt.
Because there's no reason to have it on him. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So they end up removing him from that feud. And he ended up starting to feud with The Undertaker. Of course, he was pissed off that The Undertaker, whooped his ass. So he ended up throwing The Undertaker off of the stage and hurting him. So the Big Show was supposed to tag team with A-Train to go up against The Undertaker and Nathan Jones. We know what happened with that. Nathan Jones wasn't ready. I think he got stage fright or some shit. I don't know. But The Undertaker beat the Big Show and A-Train at WrestleMania.
Yeah, because why not?
Right. He started feuding again with Lesnar. They even had a stretcher match. But couldn't get the belt back. And then that was also leading to one of the most famous moments of SmackDown when he suplexed the Big Show in the ring and broke.
Yes. Still his most iconic moment, I believe, to this day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Shit. So we start moving on to that, but then he got him a mid-card title. At No Mercy, he defeated Eddie Guerrero for the United States Championship, and then him and Brock Lesnar became cool. He ended up leaving Brock Lesnar, and then this is one of the put over John Cena moments, maybe the first one, because the Big Show had wrestled John Cena for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20. John Cena puts him in the AA, and he defeats him, and that's when you get the spinning belt. The next night on SmackDown, He promised to quit if he didn't beat Eddie Guerrero. He lost to Eddie Guerrero due to the frog splash. Because Tori Wilson had laughed at him for losing, he basically threw a car around and threatened to throw off a ledge. Kurt Angle decided to try to talk some sense into him, but he threw Kurt Angle off of that ledge, apparently breaking his leg and causing the back of his head to bleed. And then we didn't see him for months, but that's because he had surgery. But they said that he was kicked off of SmackDown because of that. But shouts out to our homie Teddy Long, because he reinstated him. And then all of these things started to happen. He had a choice to face Guerrero or Angle at No Mercy. He chose to fight Kurt Angle, and he turned face. He defeated Kurt Angle at No Mercy. After that match, he had claimed to lose his dignity when Kurt Angle tranquilized him in front of the ring using a dart gun and shaving his head. And I think he pissed on himself too.
Just listen to what Bang is reading right now. Just listen to it.
I teased he should have left the WWE a long time ago.
Yeah.
He's a giant, ladies and gentlemen. At No Way Out, he went against John Bradshaw Layfield for the WWF Championship in the first ever barbed wire steel cage match. He chokeslammed JBL through the ring and broke the to break the lock to the door, but JBL crawled out from underneath the ring and won.
There you go.
And then that's when the cabinet came in and whooped his ass until Batista attacked the cabinet and John Cena attacked JBL, crawled away. WrestleMania 21, the Big Show became a sumo.
Yeah.
And he went against Akebono in a work sumo match. The match was added to attract people from Japan, where Akebono is a sporting legend. He's a sumo legend. The Big Show was throwing shit around just to prove that he could do it, but then he lost to Akebono.
Yeah, sure did.
And then, I don't know if you remember when he was going up against Carlito, but most notably, Matt Morgan.
Hey, just keep reading.
Oh, man. The Big Show was drafted to Raw. And he started to become a beast again. But then, he started going up against Snitsky. And I don't know if you guys remember, this was when Snitsky was harassing backstage reporters.
Yeah.
Snitsky hit this man upside the head with a ring bell, a couple other things. They did have a match at Unforgiven where the Big Show won. And then the Big Show beat him again in a street fight. Now, let's go to some good shit. Because this is one of my other favorite times for the Big Show.
Okay.
Kemp might laugh.
Okay.
But this is when he was teaming up with Kane. The Big Show defeated Edge, and they did a poll about who should be facing John Cena and Kurt Angle in a triple threat match. Shawn Michaels won that poll, which meant that the other two people in that poll will compete for the tag team championship. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. They stole it from the WCW with WCW Saturday Night when they was doing it. They brought it here. This is Taboo Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The Big Show tagged up with Kane to defeat Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade for the tag team championships.
Yeah, I was mad because Kane and Murdoch lost. Those were my guys.
There you go. And then they just started beating up everybody. They ended up beating up Batista and they injured him, by accident. The Big Show and Kane defeated, I think they defeated Eminem in a non-title match. They injured Batista again, throwing him in the windshield of a car to get him off of TV. The Big Show, Kane, Carlito, and Chris Masters, along with Shawn Michaels, represented Raw against Team SmackDown. The Big Show was eliminated by Rey Mysterio, and Team SmackDown won a match. So, yeah, he's always getting eliminated for some shit.
Yeah.
Now, I want to fast forward this.
Okay. Because this keeps happening.
Because it keeps happening. So, I'm going to go to ECW.
Okay.
Because now the Big Show is on ECW. Mm-hmm. And now he's a monster. He defeated he defeated Rob Van Dam to become the ECW champion in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. With the assistance of his homie, Paul Heyman. But then after that, the Big Show is just killing everybody. But he's also the first ever professional wrestler to hold the WWE Championship, the WCW Championship, and the ECW Championship.
Yeah.
He's also the first ECW, non-ECW original to hold the championship. And he started beating everybody's ass who came to the brand. Because this is when they start bringing people to the brand to bring the brand a little bit of notoriety.
Right.
So when that ended up happening, the Big Show was supposed to, it was supposed to be Great Khali who was supposed to fight, I think it was The Undertaker. Yes, The Undertaker. In a Punjabi prison match.
Yeah.
But the Great Khali had got hurt, apparently. But they tried to use it as punishment as his attack on The Undertaker. So he lost that match. He ended up having a feud with Sabu. Sabu to win the ECW championship. And that's when the Big Show, I guess around that time, 2006, 2007, you could say the Big Show was back to being a monster.
Yeah.
Until DX. Because I don't know if you remember, that's when Vince McMahon and Shane was going up against DX. They was also using the Spirit Squad in this joint as well. And they had a 3-1-2 handicap match between the Big Show, Shane, Vince, against Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
During the match, Vince's head was shoved up Big Show's ass to mock the Kiss My Ass Club. Now, I'm going to fast forward this because he ended up leaving a little bit from the WWE. He comes back, and you have, to me, the best versions of the Big Show.
Okay.
In 2008, 2010.
Okay. Yep.
And that is Chris Jericho and The Miz. His runs as their tag team partners.
Yeah.
He attacked Rey Mysterio when he was the championship. He did the whole thing with Floyd Mayweather and all that stuff. Floyd Mayweather broke his nose. And the Big Show lost to Floyd Mayweather at WrestleMania with the knockout punch with the brass knuckles. And he turns face. He does all of these matches where he's really just a part of the group. But he turns heel when he goes back to SmackDown. He sides with Vicky Guerrero against The Undertaker. So as you see, he has a long connection with The Undertaker. They're back big guys. But he never really returns to winning championships and shit. But then he teams up with Chris Jericho a little bit down the line. And they become the unified tag team championships. That, to me, is the best version of the Big Show. Part of that reason, to me, that is the best version of the Big Show is because who he had with him. Now, they end up breaking up, and then they had The Miz in the Big Show. And they end up losing the belts to the Hart Dynasty. But in my opinion, that's the best version of the Big Show in the WWE to me.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
I do have it as that because that does set up. I think it either sets up or it extends Weapon of Mass Destruction Big Show, which is the best Big Show.
Okay.
So I will give him that. So because he don't have to talk as much. He's with two very entertaining guys. One can really fucking wrestle. One can just really play to the crowd and make you look greater. Yeah, his time with Miz and Jericho, great. And I think that actually helps set up Weapon of Mass Destruction, WMD Big Show, better because, the hot shot as a finisher wouldn't get him over. The choke slam even as a finisher by itself wouldn't get him over. So, yeah. No, absolutely.
So I'm going to fast forward this because Big Show has a long WWE career. I'm either going to fast forward when he had the championship run between, and then, had the thing with him and Mark Henry.
Okay.
And even Daniel Bryan. I'm going to skip the Authority. What I'm going to do here is really just wrap it up.
Okay.
Here's why. I think we've talked about the nuts and bolts of the Big Show's career. And I'm going to go on record as saying this. As far as name recognition, and this is no fault to the Big Show unless somebody tells me differently. But the Big Show might have had the most disappointing career as far as a name, at least in my opinion, in the WWE. And here's why.
Okay.
They played that man into a pussy for too long. Reason why I'm skipping part, because part of what I'm skipping is something that we talked about last week. Him crying about not losing his job on TV. The Big Show has lost. The Big Show has cried on TV about losing his job. He's a giant. The Big Show has had his mom dragged in a coffin. The Big Show has had a number of things that happened to him in his WWE career that he's 7 foot, hovered around 400 to 500 pounds. But they treated the Big Show like he was 6'3".
Yep. Or smaller.
I don't remember the Big Show ever having a long title run. I thought it was some water here. The Big Show has mainly been a transitional champion in his career. In fact, the Big Show was nothing but a transitional champion in WCW.
Facts.
Because when he won the first title, it transitioned to World War III and Macho Man becoming the champion. And he was a transitional champion between Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan with the NWO. How many times did the Big Show win the WWE Championship? Twice. His longest title reign came with the ECW belt, if I'm not mistaken. He won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the Big Gold belt, twice. He won the Tag Team Championship 3 times. One with Chris Jericho, one with The Miz, and one with Kane. Now, he won the World Tag Team Championship 5 times. Yes, if you look at his accomplishments, though, for him being 7 foot and that many pounds, his accomplishments don't even read. Like, his accomplishments don't read like some smaller wrestlers. But let me ask you this, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong. You could tweet me at JR Bang. You could tweet me. You could tweet Camp at Camp from the Port. You could use the hashtag FBC.pod. For somebody who's supposed to be an attraction, when was the Big Show ever really an attraction?
I'll say all of his debuts. That was the attraction, right? Because if you think about it, the first time you see somebody 7 foot, you're like, oh my God. And I think that allure lasts for about a year.
Right.
But once reality sets in, and he doesn't wow or impress you that many times, but then, say it loses luster. But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. You can also argue that Big Show is an attraction every year of his career.
Okay.
If you are 4 to 8 years old. Because one thing that will never get tired from kids' perspectives is the 7 foot person that's in the room. Wow, you're way bigger than my dad.
Yeah.
Kids do that to me, and I'm barely 6'3". Wow, you're way bigger than my dad. Are you Layla's dad? You're way bigger than my dad. I'm like, well, I'm sure your dad works hard, man. Don't disrespect me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess I wanted to do this because you slandered the fuck out of the Big Show last week.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I mean, hey, based on what you read, did I? Huh? did I? Based on what you read, sir, J.R. Banks, based on what you read today, did I?
No.
All right.
Basically, what I'm saying is I did this oral history too, in a sense. My plan was to be like, yo, the Big Show is deeper than rap.
Okay.
But when you start with the big boss, when you start with Vince McMahon slapping you and punching you, and calling you dumb, and you 7 foot, 400 pounds, when you go from there to the Mankind shit, like, and even when you think about his history with the bigger guys,
yeah, let's talk about it.
like The Undertaker and Kane, like, he was more successful with them than without them. What was his best match against smaller people?
I mean, shit, I would say anytime Rey Mysterio beat him, by default.
See, say that again.
Anytime that Rey Mysterio beat him, by default.
Don't even say by default.
Oh.
He was losing to Rey. I don't remember the Undertaker losing a match against Rey Mysterio. I'm not saying it ain't never happened. But the thing is your memory and what draws you to.
Word.
I've seen the Big Show lose more matches against small guys.
Yeah.
And in some cases, dominating fashions.
Yeah. I mean, shit, how many times has he been slammed? And suplexed and fucking and bludgeoned and fucking clipped
And cried.
and cried. You know what I'm saying? Nobody over 6'5".
Right. Again, this is nothing against the Big Show. This is more, and I don't want to be this guy, but I got to do it. This is more an indictment against the WWE.
Okay. Let's go. Let's talk.
Because if you look at the Big Show compared to all of the other giants, he's probably last on the list in high regard.
Okay.
But he's the biggest one. If you saw the Giant go up against, or the Big Show go up against the Undertaker, you automatically think the Undertaker's gonna whoop his ass.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kane.
Yeah.
Same thing with Batista. Same thing against Brock Lesnar. And these are shorter guys, but you still consider them super heavyweights.
Right. Absolutely.
When he go up against Triple H, what did you expect the Big Show to do?
Get hit in the head with a sledgehammer.
And lose. When he went against The Rock, what did you expect?
To get the rock bottom in the people's elbow and lose.
When he went against Kurt Angle, what did you expect?
To get Angle slammed. And if he not tap out, he was still going to lose.
What did you expect when he went against Mark Henry?
Double disqualification.
Or lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you with this thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing against Paul White. But what Camp said last week, I think reigns supreme. There's nothing about Paul White's mind of wrestling that makes me excited about him going up against AEW. Going to AEW.
Sorry.
Because I don't think we would have the same conversation about any other wrestler that's a big. That they would lose in so many ways, or they would cry.
Man.
I think if somebody went to the Undertaker and was like, yo, we need you to do something. What? Cry? That ain't me, fam.
It's like, yeah. I said that for the retirement doc. No.
Kane is eyes him, yank him. No, I ain't crying. Like,
But, hey, yeah. Kane's character was set on fire. as a child and in real
Yeah.
life and in the wrestling match. I mean,
So what I'm saying to you is, I did this podcast today to say you were absolutely fucking right. You were absolutely fucking right.
hey,
Sometimes you have to go through these joints to see how bad somebody's career possibly was. Man, oh man. There's not a match of the Big Show that I'll be like, yo, what's that go-to match to watch of the Big Show?
man. Again, by default, I say the one that kicks off WrestleMania Hollywood, which was WrestleMania 20.
That's Mankind, right?
Oh no, that's that's John Cena
That's
for
John
the U.S.
Cena.
title.
Yeah. He lost.
And he goes in as the champ.
He lost. He puts over. So I'm going to say this to end this pod. Hey, Cody. Talking to you, man. I'm going to put myself on solo real quick. Let me fix this.
For sure.
Let me fix this brand.
Let's do it.
Hey, Cody, how you doing? My name is J.R. Bang. I am co-host of the First Black Champ podcast. I am inquiring to I need a favor from you. Treat the Big Show, Paul White, better than the WWE did. You got to get him some big people to wrestle and throw around. So put him in a match with Brian Cage. Or Powerhouse Hobbs. You know what, Lance Archer? He got to destroy him, though. Because right now, the Big Show out here looking like a simp his whole career. The only person you could really say he dominated was Shane McMahon. He's supposed to have done that. Like, give him somebody that he can knock out. Like Chris Jericho was bitching this man at one point. The Miz too. And for the Miz to bitch you out, that's saying something. He needs to knock out Kenny Omega and get the belt. He needs to do something. Because we didn't even believe him after last year's WrestleMania. When Drew McIntyre won and he says, I deserve a title shot. We didn't believe him. We needed more people. And Drew McIntyre defeated him probably in lesser time than he defeated Brock Lesnar that night. Give the Big Show some time. Let's change the perception of the Big Show by doing it in AEW.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully, Cody will listen. But you know, that conditioning.
Because I understand why he would leave WWE and say he felt like he wasn't respected. Because when you allow that to happen for 20 years.
Enough is enough. It's time for a change.
There you go. So yeah, that's been our oral history. Hopefully it wasn't that much slander.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to get mad at us, but that's the view of how we viewed that character for over 20 years.
Hey man, listen, man. The content is right in front of your face, man. Listen, man. We've unfortunately
He got kicked out of the NWO 3 times.
Kicked out. Unfortunately, man, we just don't have the information here that's just available to all of us through, the internet and the WWE Network, which will soon be on Peacock if you got your email, to prove to you that the character layer and the great matches and the great stories being told are a part of the Big Show brand. They're just not. I mean, if anything, his biggest claim to fame is always turning on the Survivor Series brand team that he was on for like 3 years. That's like his biggest claim to fame of this current era. So, Sorry, guys. Paul White being AEW didn't move the needle for me. Why? Because they don't even have enough people to do the brand type of Survivor Series match for him to turn on somebody during the pitch.
And he can't even be undefeated for 15 years and put over Hulk Hogan at AEW.
Listen, you know.
End us off, man. What's your
right,
guarantees, fam? What's your guarantees?
Well, my guarantee,
fucked up, fam.
You know, my guarantee is that Natalya and Tamina will either walk into WrestleMania the women's tag team champions, or they will win them on Monday Night Raw. Oh, wait, no, they can't win them on Monday Night Raw. They got to win them on SmackDown.
Yeah,
I believe. So yeah, so if they don't do it by WrestleMania, they will do it on Friday Night SmackDown. That's my guarantee.
My guarantee is that Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez is going to steal the show for the week of WrestleMania.
Wow, okay.
The week. Learning that they will be the main event of night one was great to hear. As I had said last week, Io Shirai has been putting in work for quite a while at NXT. I even said that if Asuka was not able to perform, and it looks like she is, because it looks like she's about to return to Crazy Asuka. If she was not able to perform, that they should have the women's battle royal happen, and the two finalists should wrestle each other for not only the women's championship, the Raw Women's Championship, but that battle royal championship. And I said that should be Io Shirai versus probably Charlotte Flair. But Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez is going to steal the show for the WrestleMania week. And I feel very comfortable in that guarantee.
Yeah, hey, I would too. I don't think there's not enough evidence to refute you on that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there we go. Hey, man, thank y'all for tuning in to this show, man. Thank y'all for tuning in for this oral history. I hope it wasn't that much of slander. Big Show, this is just how I saw your character for 20 years, like in hindsight and during it. And you were not a giant that I was scared of. I'm sorry.
You know, man. Hey, listen, hey, Paul, you know who you are, man. You know who you are, man. You said, and I think you blame Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan, but you said that you didn't really get the right advice and information. But, sir, we're going to hold you accountable after year 2, because you had a chance to go into the WWE and right those wrongs of how you were booked and how you were billed and how the finishes were happening. You had that time, and you had the money, and you had the opportunity, and you did not take advantage of that, sir. So I'm convinced you are exactly who you wanted to be, and therefore you are now presently not moving the AEW needle of the meter any more for me than you did if you had just said, hey, I'm just going to continue doing my Netflix shit.
Yep.
And being Netflix's favorite dad, and that be it. So
there you go.
With no disrespect. But what we surely want to do is thank each and every one of you for tuning into the show. We definitely appreciate your likes, your comments, your shares, the commentary, the banter, the gifts, the memes, the video, all of it. We love it. We love hearing from you guys. We love speaking to you guys and interacting with all of you. And we hope to do it more and more throughout the future of this podcast. Hey, we are developing new merch, and it will be available to you all real soon. And always remember, if you ever want to talk about wrestling in an unconventional way, you do so by checking out the First Black Champ podcast. Camp, bang, we are out.